be?
We are back.
What up, boys?
We are so back. Lucas
we
didn't
doing?
make an
We're down
agenda.
one.
No agenda today. Lucas slacking over there.
There is an agenda.
You got some nerve
David.
there, Devid.
He's got some.
You got some
The
nerve,
audacity-
man. Rocks up
the
to the call, does
audacity to
absolutely
do this.
nothing. Starts laying
The
into him
second-
about the agenda.
The second we click record, you just start laying into me, dude.
He thinks he's a
Get a
funny
life.
guy out here, huh?
Get a
Yeah,
life, dude.
someone call me
You
a
think-
wise
what are you,
guy.
a wise guy? You
I'm
think
a
you're
wise
wise?
guy. I bought
wise guy?
Celestia at $3.20. Like a wise
You're not
guy.
wise, guy. You're not wise.
Thinking this thing is bottomed out. Berniski's talking about it. Worst case, 2x, 3x. We're just keep going down. Tia
On
just
this week
keeps
of
going
Crypto
down.
Hot Potato, where are we putting our ETH in today, boys?
Looks like
On
the
this week of
creator coin meta off the charts,
hot
hot off the press.
off the press. I mean, hold on, David. Let's pause for a second. Lucas, you're the owner of the agenda. Where do you want to start today?
I think Creator Coins, I mean, that was the main agenda item that we had today. So as of
Amongst
recording
many
June
others.
20th,
Amongst many others.
amongst many other topics, as of
There you
recording June 20th, Zora had just launched Creator Coins. So every profile on Zora has the option to coin the profile. Fellas, how we feel?
Well,
We coining?
I don't know much about the creator coins that just launched 30 minutes ago. It seems like Coop and you both know, like even what you just said, you can coin your profile. Like what's the breakdown? What is this? And how does it differ from the content coins? Like that's what I'm trying to, like what's the difference between, or how do creator coins tie to content coins?
Why don't you tell us, Lucas?
Well, David, as it says here in this tweet, every profile has a coin. Your username is a ticker.
All
and
right.
a profile is now represented by one single coin. And it looks like you earn a 1% on every trade on your creator coin and your post. And with it, you get 50% of the creator coin supply vested to you over 5 years, which I think is actually pretty interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And I think the other mechanism that's not super highlighted here is just how your posts are tied into the creator coin. I don't know, Coop, you might have a better understanding here of how that's working, but new way to coin or new level of coining.
It looks like we're not coining content here as much. Like everything, all value accrues to the creator coin.
Every post is paired in the creator coin. And so every time that you buy a post, you're actually buying some of the creator coin as well. It's like a routing system where, you know, they had like Zora as the base pair before it. Now the base pair is the creator coins instead.
So Coop has a creator coin. He posts amazing videos of his travels to various music festivals around the United States and the globe.
On the globe.
I see some absolutely fire video that he took in Tokyo. I buy it. So I'm getting that coin. I'm getting Tokyo Cooper coin. And then on the part of that purchase is then routed to buy me some of the creator coin too.
Not to buy you the creator coin, it's just routed through the coin on the back end. And so any volume that happens on the post is volume that's going to the creator coin.
Got it. Okay. They're all paired against the creator coin on some
Correct.
level. Okay.
Right. And I think the playbook there is you're going to generate more fees, right?
Hypothetically.
Across your post and your creator coin.
That is the
And then-
hypothetical pitch.
And the other part of the hypothetical pitch is Zora's taking some cut of the fees here.
Yes, that's correct.
And in this hypothetical pitch, they need to be doing quite a lot of volume. And let's look right here. What's going on right here?
I'm copping a couple
Creator.
creator coins on the fly. Just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. I feel like, you know, all of us on this call have definitely been around the block when it comes to creator coins. And I think the question that remains for me is, are these able to sink in a little bit deeper than maybe the friend tech coins of the world or the far cards of the world or, you know, any other number of versions of this? But it feels like a new class of tokens. I like that it's like almost like betting on their Instagram profile. Like I can definitely see the vision here for sure. I think my main concern is just around like the quality of the creators that currently have coins in the market. But I mean, if hypothetically every new user who ever joins Zora from here on out has a coin, it's pretty interesting. One fun fact that I did learn about the rollout of this is any new creator who joins Zora from today on will have a creator coin by default. But if you were on Zora prior to today, it is opt-in. And so, for example, I don't currently have a creator coin yet. Jesse Pollock, I noticed, doesn't have his creator coin yet, and it's basically up to me as the owner of that profile to decide if I want to launch that creator coin or not.
Wait, but you said every new user will have a creator coin automatically?
Yes, yes,
Interesting.
upon account creation.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I think as a whole, I'm infinitely more bullish, or to me, it makes more sense in tokenizing or coining on the creator level than the content level, at least in my opinion. Um, but I think, as you said, Coop, we've seen the creator coin playbook ran many times over the crypto history, so I'm interested to see where this one lands. I think that there's definitely some sauce here, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
You buying any?
Have I bought any?
Are you going to be buying any creator coins, Mr.
Um,
Campbell?
Potentially, if there's a good
Devid?
creator, maybe a Koopa Troopa content coin,
I might
creator
buy
coin.
some of this Jacob coin. I'm not like dying to go buy one of these right now.
Mm.
I don't think I understand them enough, and I don't have enough like excitement around the creators on here that would make me be like, oh my God, I need to buy this right now while we're on this call. It's very possible this afternoon I go in, buy a couple.
The wise guy
What
would be buying a couple.
I haven't. Yeah, Wise Guy's gonna buy a couple. I'm more tempted to figure out what's going on with the Pump.fun live stream tokens.
Mm.
I don't know if anybody's been playing around there, but
I've been
kind
playing
of
around, but I
yeah.
noticed a few of them are popping off.
yeah, it seems like the Gainsey posts are starting to run a little bit.
But they're dumping today. The Gainsey
Yep,
stream token.
it's dumping.
Let's see where Gainsey stream's looking at today. 5 mil market cap. Pretty
It's
good,
pretty good.
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Went all the way up to 14 the other day. And then we got the Razmer coin, which is down bad today, but had a nice little run.
Wait, but are
I do
these
like this
happening
idea though of like
on the live stream level or on the creator level? The
creator
tokens.
level. They're the creator level
Okay.
of the live stream. So it's like, a coin for the Twitch channel, basically.
I think another thing at play here that Cooper knows that I've been starting to dig into a bit, is if this Zora launch was on Solana, would there be more liquidity, and would these be working more? And I think while I think fundamentally what chain you're building your product on doesn't fully matter and shouldn't matter, I think when you're in the space we're in, which is like these highly speculative creator coins, early liquidity might matter more than we want it to. And I got to ask myself, if these creator coins were getting launched like the Pump.fun tokens or on Solana, what would they be valued at? Would they be getting more volume right now, or does it really not matter? And I'm tempted to say they would be getting more volume right now.
This is David's favorite topic of the week.
It was my favorite topic of the week. I'm doing a lot of thinking about it. I don't want it to be true. I don't want this to be true.
My take on this as a whole is just like the chain that you choose to launch on might help with the go-to-market, but it's not going to help with retention or growth beyond that.
100%.
And that's really up to you as an application.
Yeah. I think it's a good data point though. I'm definitely like pretty stoked that that's like the topic of conversation right now. Is like creator coins across both Zora, Pump, and however else that kind of trickles down. So I would say on my end, watching, waiting, seeing what's going on. I definitely am pretty tempted to launch my creator coin on Zora. I will give a quick recap though that last week I minted this video or coined this video that I made for the Midnight Diner. This is like a nice promo video that I made in Japan. Some good quality content. I thought it was a nice video. I thought I'd post it and see what happened. And coin went up quite a lot, went to like, maybe 80, 90K market cap at the peak. It probably had like 100 grand of volume. And it was interesting. I definitely started to feel some of the like blowback of like tokenizing something as someone who's been in crypto for a long time, where people were tweeting about it and asking me to shill it and basically asking for like utility and stuff like that. And so it was a bit of a weird dynamic. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I do know that some friends reached out to me and basically were like, "Oh, like, is this like a legit Midnight Diner token? Like, are you launching like this event series coin now? Are you going to be like leaning into it forever and whatnot?" And so there's still this like really tough middle ground where like even now with the Zora coin, me launching my creator coin on Zora, like what implications does that have? Is that going to be perceived as like my main creator token? And obviously, I think that I and we collectively are mid-curving this a bit as people who have been in crypto for a long time. I don't think that someone new to crypto would have these same expectations, but it does give me a little bit of pause, just as someone who's been around the block a few times, that is the juice worth the squeeze right now? Hard to tell. You know what I mean? I think it's looking at it another way, it's kind of an interesting way of saying it, but it really does come down to like how much perceived value can you make as a creator by launching this coin today? Like for someone in my shoes, just off the cuff, if I knew I could press that button and make 25, 50 grand in trading fees from this coin, I would probably do it like right now, based
On
on what
what
I'm
time
seeing
frame?
in like the first week. First
Okay.
week, let's call it. Something that feels like pretty guaranteed. Looking at the volume right now, I think that Jacob's token is probably the most popular, and he's probably looking at maybe he had what, like $1 million of volume, so maybe like 10K worth of rewards. It doesn't
Assuming it
make me
all
want
goes.
to, yeah, it doesn't make me want to jump out of my seat and do it right this second. So it's kind of this interesting thing where the money has to be good enough to justify the, social pressure that kind of comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you're a full-time content creator and you're like going to dedicate yourself to it, I think there's a extremely high ceiling on what you could do.
Do
But I
we
think
think
for
Well
that?
said. Well said.
the average creator, it's tough because for you to get that decent amount of volume, there needs to be that cohort of people that have like an expectation that you're going to do something with it. And I don't think that
Hmm.
that's the standard, right? That people have when they're posting on Zora or like posting content as a whole.
Yeah. Go ahead, David.
Do you think that like Gainsey has that relationship with the Pump.fun live stream tokens? Like that's where I feel like they're not taking their relationship with their tokens too seriously.
Hmm.
Um,
Which is probably
and
net positive.
which is net positive, definitely net positive. Which is, yeah, I feel like if we're gonna go down the content coin route, it needs to be as ephemeral as like throwing up reels and TikTok and just like, okay, I'm throwing this thing up, I'm trying this, like it's either gonna go viral or it's not. It could go viral in 6 months. It could go viral now. Like I'm just trying this thing out. I'm not putting my entire like life stake and reputation behind this idea, which
Right.
is very different. And I think like that's just more in line with where the world and crypto is headed. And I think it is net positive.
I think there's a couple ways of looking at it because I definitely think that's the way that Zora is positioning it on their end. They're basically trying to say this is just your profile on Zora. These coins are ephemeral, and if you make $5 from a post, that's more than the $0 you made on Instagram. I also think as like a company, this perspective that Zora is deploying millions of new tokens because there's all these coins getting made for these posts, and there's all of these coins being made for these profiles. The surface area for like Zora as a platform is very large because of that exact, framework. But I think to Lucas's point, it really does come down to this works for full-time content creators. And I think right now the number of full-time content creators in crypto is very small. And I think the number of full-time content creators who are comfortable posting on Zora is also very small. And so the question to me remains like, can Zora go and get a high-profile TikTok creator, a high-profile Instagram creator, and get them to launch a coin on their platform, which honestly is it's a good surface area. Like I'm excited to see if they can pull that off and convert some of these more traditional content creators into feeling confident about posting on Zora.
I actually think that the creator that's going to perform better is like a crypto native one that really
Yep,
understands how
I
these
agree with
things work.
that.
Like I don't know if X copy was like fully crypto native, but like that type of vibe of, he wasn't popular in normal in the traditional sense, but he really leveraged the crypto primitives really well.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I got a little transition here that's related,
What are
but
we
how are you
talking?
guys feeling about this? Why won't you let me share? How are you guys feeling about this chart right here? And I think why I bring this up is not actually a roast on Zora, but it's actually because of the pump bun like $1 billion like ICO like raise at a $4 billion valuation, and then you're kind of seeing Zora on the other end on base with a very similar concept, but sitting at less than $100 million FTV.
I think
Do
the
you
Hmm.
guys think? Do you think this is the market saying something, or do you think that this is like a pretty good opportunity to be looking at?
I don't. I'll speak for myself. I don't think they're comparable. I think we're comparing like apples and oranges a little bit. Like the pump.fun like the pump-on model is so clear. It's like tons of people are using this to launch tokens across any vertical, like content, live streaming, memes, AI agents, like all of these are getting launched on pump-on, and they've just captured complete that they've just captured the complete token launchpad meta on the entire chain of Solana.
Hmm.
Where I think Zora gets more nuanced. They had an L2. Is this like still connected? Am I betting on the L2? Is this connected to that? Am I betting on these creator coins? How do these creator coins tie to the Zora price? They only started launching these tokens, what, in the last 6 months? Like having more of like a token launchpad game. So I just think, I don't know if they're comparable. And I think Zora, the token, is still finding its place and purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I think for what it's worth in terms of the chart, like you could paint this chart for almost every like airdropped token
Yeah.
ever. Like this is standard run of show, so it's nothing new. But I'm curious about moving forward. How do you guys see this opportunity? Or to David's point, these aren't comparables. Coop, do you see like more of a comparison between the two or separate fields?
Vaguely. I think that I'm looking at this token right now at 85 mil FTV, and I'm thinking that it's actually a pretty decent buying opportunity. I think this getting down to like 50 to 75 feels like a great buying opportunity. But I think right now it's definitely going to be a question of do any of these creator coins pop off? And I think the biggest thing that I'm still looking for, and that I think, the market as a whole is looking for, is like what's the 1000x outcome of any coin on Zora, whether that's a post or whether that's a creator. And I think that we've yet to see any of these coins like sustain like a good trading opportunity. And that's just the challenge of where the crypto market is right now, is that the people who are buying Zora are degens who want to get a 1000x gain. They're not necessarily like users who are new to crypto and like find this cool new like Instagram platform. And so it's this, I mean, I think we're all in this boat. Like you're basically selling to an audience who doesn't necessarily value coins based on the narrative that you as the founder are building. You're almost valuing them based off the capacity to make money as a trader. And I think as a founder of like a consumer app right now, it's very difficult. Like as to be
Mm.
able to make people consistent returns off of like a creator's output. We had NFTs, and that was kind of why that worked in the past, is because people were making money flipping, whether it was PFPs or digital art or whatever it was. We don't really have that with this coins meta yet. And I think that it will happen at some point. It's just unclear where that'll happen and how that will capture the value and like where you should be positioning yourself as, a crypto degen to be able to take advantage of that opportunity.
I think let's flip it to the other end. Pump fund $1 billion like ICO type deal at a $4 billion valuation. Is that if it let's say it's trading at a $4 billion FTV right now? Too high, too low? Where do you think? What are you guys? How are you guys playing that?
I would buy it
Do you think it
personally.
can sustain that $4 billion valuation? Is maybe a better question.
Yeah, I think so. I think at least for like the trade of like if you can buy into the ICO, I think it's going to go up from there. Just based on like the amount of hype that it has and whatnot. I know there's like a comparison of it being like the equivalent of the ICO or like the other side sale
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in this, class of market, but I don't know, man. Just the amount of revenue that Pump's made consistently over a very long period of time. If there is like a flywheel that actually circulates that revenue back into the token, that coin is making way more money than most L1s. And I think that it has a much more viable like product in its path. And with the live stream stuff that's going on, you can even now start to like make the argument that this is like crypto Twitch, and Twitch is like the most popular social app on the planet right now, I would argue. So I think there's a very clear narrative towards it that I could definitely see it being like a top 20 token right now for sure.
Do you think it could go to like 30 to 50 FTV?
I think that depends on the crypto markets tolerance to start valuing like apps more than chains, which is something that we've all wanted to see happen for a long time. I don't think that that's quite where we're at right this second, but it's almost like saying like, did people believe that Instagram would be more valuable than fill in the blank network back in the
I
day,
know, I know it's technically its own chain, but Hyperliquid is the beginning of like proving that thesis. It really is it's an app for when most people look at it. And I know they have a lot of things planned down the line, and been seeing Ansem tweet a lot about how there's going to be this ability for people to like create their own exchanges basically on the chain, but the app layer thesis is happening.
I still can't justify like buying into it at this point. It's tough for me. I'm fading it like a mid curve, but I don't know. Buying it at like, what is it, 40-50 billion dollar FDV? I just don't really see that like 5x potential, 10x. I don't know.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, but I think over what time frame, right? And I think in terms of like where you want to park your capital, if you think about these people who are just trading like on Axiom every single day and like making a shit ton of money off of just like flipping memes on Pump, like you end up making 100 grand, you're gonna park some capital in the Pump token. And I just think like solely based off the amount of revenue they've made alone, it has like an opportunity to be like a different. But I mean, think about it this way: Pump's made $1 billion in revenue. You know what I mean? So if it's trading at 4 bill, what is that? 4x earnings, and that's like some really stupid degen math right there. So I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll
sorry.
see what happens.
I was
We'll see
talking
what happens.
specifically about Hyperliquid, but I would definitely be
Oh,
buying
got it.
Pump.fun at 4 billion.
Hmm.
What I'm now interested, my next like final question on this is like Pump.fun launches at a 4 billion, let's call it $5 billion valuation. Does Zora now get repriced, based on that? Or we think no, maybe.
Unlikely. I think that I don't think people are looking at it in the same way. I think Zora wants to be positioned in that way, and that's kind of their current like MO. I just don't think that the volume reflects that the sentiment is one to one right this second.
I also don't think people see Zora as a token launchpad yet.
Yeah,
And then on
I
top
agree
of
with that.
that, the volume's not there to support it.
I mean, I don't think you need volume. You can just have a narrative and you can go pretty far on that with crypto.
Hmm.
Speaking of which,
Do you think that is? I think that's less true than ever. Outside of a meme coin, the things that can run on narrative are meme coins. Like this useless token that I kept on seeing people talk about and I didn't buy has gone from, it's now at 100 million market cap. It's running on narrative. It's like the narrative that it's useless or fart coin, or, I don't need to explain to me memes to you guys or the people who listen to this podcast, but I think we're at the point where like memes can run on narrative and they can run on a fun narrative. And then if you're not a meme, you need to have something real.
Damn,
And if you
useless
look
is
at
running.
useless is really running. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
okay. Well, you know what is running on a narrative right now?
Tell me.
Circle stock. Okay. Crazy run right now. We're going TradFi, but IPO'd at $31 is now at $245. Okay.
That's crazy.
This is crazy in the
Yeah.
sense of like, in terms of like their revenue and their books, Coinbase is a significantly better buy, but they're probably rivaling each other right now in market cap. And I think this is entirely on the stablecoin just narrative right now. Entirely on that. Plus the Genius bill just passed this week, or, is making progress through that political process. But this is insane to me. This is moving like a crypto token.
But this is a function of there's just not a lot of like stable coin plays retail can make,
200%
or
in the past month.
institutional. Like there's not a lot of these plays anyone can make, so it's unique.
This is crazy.
You guys hold
I
any of
bought
that?
like a little bit. I bought a
No,
little bit of Circle
I faded
at
it at
$80,
after it
and I was
pumped.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, bought a little bit at $80. Was like, okay, this just want to have like a just in case this pumps bag, and this is blowing my mind. It was
Should bought
crazy.
some options, Lucas.
Only get burned on options, man.
Yeah. This is a good.
IPOs.
It is good but to your point, Lucas, it's running on narrative, and yes, it's has an insane multiple right now, but it's a real business that makes money.
Yeah, but they give half of their revenue to Coinbase,
Yeah, but they still,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe the market, I don't know, but to me this seems like a very much narrative driven run, not like a fundamentals earnings based run.
But there's some type of fundamentals to it.
Sure, yeah, stablecoin growth and adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And revenue. And like it's a company with like real revenue.
I'm sure that act that just got passed was probably pretty bullish for Circle as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to break down that whole stablecoin act there, but I've heard that it was pretty bullish for stablecoins in general.
Yeah, pretty much just gives issuers a clear framework of how to issue stablecoins. That's about it.
And according to several senators, it will add to U.S. dollar supremacy across the world.
Is that what the senators are saying, David?
That's what my senator. That's what my people on the Hill are saying. You know,
yeah, is that what your wise guys are saying over there?
My wise guys, my senators, they're out there on their Hill. They're part of the pro-crypto lobby, and they're saying the U.S. dollar will be stronger because of stable coins. There will be more U.S. dollars and more U.S. dollar buyers around the world. That is why we need stable coins in the United States of America and beyond.
I mean, I'm with it for sure. I'm definitely like I'm going stable coins on Coop by the end of this year for sure. It's like in the pipeline, 100%.
What else could happen on Coop by the end of the year?
There's a couple things that could happen on Coop. You know, the topic of conversation right now is bringing back these good old song coins. You know, how do we go about doing it? What's the process look like? Are we doing all the coins as all the songs as coins, some of the coins as songs? So there's lots of debate there, but you know, where I'm currently at right now, and David, I think you and I talked about this a bit, is I actually don't think the game to win as a consumer app is like the launchpad pre-sale mechanism. I think that's getting like pretty deep in the weeds around some more crypto native behavior. What I've been thinking through a lot is just distribution, and more specifically, just like how do you make it so that users who have never touched crypto before are having a very positive experience with crypto based on them using your app over other apps, and specifically being able to earn their first crypto through something that's a very normalized behavior. And so one of the mechanisms that we're kicking around and still very much work in progress is, you know, listen to earn, and this idea of being able to play a track on the site and earn some of the coins if that song does have a coin attached to it, or really just any coin if you listen to music on the site. But I think for me, the two opportunities that we have is being a lot more curated and kind of feeling like there's a safe, trusted launchpad when it comes to music, and making sure that we are coining songs that have some like viral attention to them, and then making sure that those coins are distributed to, you know, either collectors who have been using the platform for a long time and have like a really high score on the site, or people who are willing to contribute positively to like the actual mimetic value of that song, which is listening to it. And I think from there you can kind of branch out to, ideally there's a world where you can earn it for listening to the song on Spotify. Ideally there's a world where you can earn it for, you know, posting a video on TikTok and posting a hashtag or something like that. But, you know, those latter pieces I feel like are a lot more third party dependent. And so at least from my point of view, starting from what's in our control, which is, hey, you play the song on Coop Records and you earn some of the coins in return, that actually feels like a pretty good flywheel to start the conversation with, and then kind of build on the back of it from there.
Who's buying the coins?
A great question. I mean, like in my best case scenario, it's probably not relying on crypto degens on Farcaster or Twitter to buy it, because I think as we've seen time and time again, that's a very small audience and a very fickle, not even fickle, but a very fast-paced audience. Like they'll be in and out in the first 15 minutes. So I think for me, the target audience there is obviously the new users who would be, you know, at music festivals, at these concerts, etc. But what I've said to my team is like, I'm not really worried about needing to push this to crypto degens on day one. If we're trying to win the hearts and minds of the same Pump.fun degenerates who are trading Axiom every day, like we're going to get burned every single time. Like the only winning method, and I think this is true of Zora and some of these other apps as well, is like, what's your capacity to get net new users on board who are like fans of that product and ecosystem? And so that's why I've been thinking about it, at least internally today.
How have you been thinking about like what exactly the core value prop of the like Coop Rex app is, in the sense of when you kind of say listen to earn, now it feels like you're trying to position yourself maybe more in the Spotify camp of trying to get people to come and listen to their music there, versus maybe just being like an engagement layer for people to own their favorite music and have upside in their favorite artists. How are you thinking about like that positioning as an app these days?
I would say it's an app to buy and sell songs, and I think the key distinguisher there is like the ability to sell songs. I don't think that's something that people have ever really had the opportunity to do before. And so I think it's kind of figuring out the right framing where someone who's like never touched crypto is like, oh, I like this idea of being able to like buy a song and then sell it later if it feels like if it does well. I think that's probably like the most core mechanic of it, but I'm still workshopping it and don't have the best answer for it yet.
Yeah, I would almost even specify like trading songs is maybe the better word or verb there, because like buying and
Yeah.
selling, you might think of it as like, oh, I'm buying like the rights to listen to this song, and then oh, I'm an artist selling the song. But
Yeah.
live feedback on NAC.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I mean, David, I guess what's your reaction to all that? I know you and I have talked quite a bit about this off stream, but I'm curious to get some of your on stream commentary around coining things, music, creators.
It's the first time you bring up the listen to earn aspect.
Hmm.
I think you and I have talked a lot about this flywheel of basically an artist token or a song token being able to be distributed by the creator to amplify the growth of their content. And I think that
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense to me, kind of like WAP on crypto, or being able to be like, okay, I make this TikTok video and a Daniel Allen sound is attached to it. I'm gonna earn like 10 tokens, 20 tokens, and that kind of helps everybody. The listen to earn thing, I think, uh gets into a complicated territory because it needs to be enough that they are gonna actually like go listen and not just do it on Spotify. So how do you guarantee that the amount that the user is getting is enough for them to like go to Coop Records and start listening to all their music through Coop Records?
Right.
And I also think if I like from a user perspective, if I start to think about the Coop Rex app as a place that I'm going for listen to earn, I think about it less as a place where I'm like trading song tokens. Where if
Hmm.
I'm only thinking about it as a place to trade song tokens or earn song tokens by helping a song go more viral, that's a very direct relationship that I can get my head
Yeah.
around. I think people at music festivals could get their head around. Um, that's my initial reaction.
Right. I think maybe just to zoom in a little bit more on that, I don't think that people can be expected to buy something as their first interaction with visiting these platforms. I think they have to earn it. And I think what I struggle with a bit is like, what is the earn action that is the simplest unit of attention that doesn't require a lot of like hard external work? Because if you do require someone to have to like make content on behalf of the song in order to earn the tokens in the first place, that obviously is limiting the scope of who can earn them. But I do think to your point, David, and to your point, Lucas, like I don't want to be positioning us as like a crypto Spotify. That's by no means
Right.
the route I'm trying to go down. I think like the marketplace to trade songs and to be able to bet on songs and whatnot is definitely the right framing here. I think the question for me is like on a product level, what does that mechanism look like?
I think there are some places AI could help you out here where the user's doing less work and content still being generated that's valuable for the song and pretty low lift for the user to create and post.
For what it's worth, David, like we're in the early phases of like starting to think like that, of like you're a podcast, you come to pods. How do we, the second you publish, how do we make it so you have an army of people that are there going out and supporting your podcast via distribution, helping you share clips, supporting you directly, that kind of stuff. And there's kind of some sort of shared upside in that experience, similar to like a WAP type deal. We're really early on that, but like we really like that positioning of how do we how do we leverage pods and on-chain publishing to maximize like your distribution as a creator, right?
Hmm.
And I think there's a lot to
Mhm.
experiment and explore there.
But I think what we're in a tough position with right now is that in practice, what that looks like is you have a Twitter shill army that expects you to post your ticker and talk about why your podcast is going to the moon. Probably not a audience of fans who are willing to get behind the actual content itself. And so I think that's just where the space is in a tough place right now. I think all of us struggle with this, where the what you just said, Lucas, makes perfect sense to me. Maximize your distribution using the coins as leverage to be able to promote. What's more challenging, I think, is who's actually earning those. Are they genuinely good stewards of your content and of your network? Or, what I've seen on my end is that if you don't give the coins to the right people, the people who are promoting your shit are frankly really annoying and insufferable. And that's actually not going to be a net positive because now people's reaction when they start to think about crypto again is like, oh, here's all these fucking moon boys talking about my content. But what happened in 2021 was that the artists felt correctly like the people buying did not actually care about the content they were promoting or buying. Like, for example, you could go to an artist and say, you might have spent $10,000 in my NFTs, name three of my songs. And they couldn't do it because these people were just trading it for the opportunity to make money. And I think that if we don't carefully build these things, it's going to be the same thing where people are buying and selling, whether it's song coins or creator coins or podcast coins, whatever it might be. They're trading it for the opportunity to make 100x gain, not the opportunity to actually be a fan and a steward of the content itself.
Yeah, I'm actually like not even thinking this in like coins are the reward mechanism. It's like USDC payments, you know, stablecoin based payments for doing some sort of value added action, right? And there has to be some sort of like verification process around that. And maybe it's like actually getting the views on TikTok or something like that, similar to like WAP. But yeah, I think the thinking of like where we're trying to approach it is how can we make it so every time you publish on pods, there's almost like a layer 3 like WAP quest associated with that episode, where there's like a fixed payout for doing some sort of action to help grow that podcast in some form or fact. And there's not really a coin that they're shilling or earning; they're just getting dollars. And that's kind of where we're trying to think about it right now.
I like that framing a lot. My initial reaction is like, where are those rewards being funded from, and how does that become sustainable for you as the platform? I think to what I was saying earlier, go ahead. I have another thought, but
I was going to say the creator would put up some of that money. I think creators are willing to pay for distribution if it's like there, right?
I think it depends on the creator. I don't know.
And I think to the other point, I do think that there's ways to try and build it so like there's some sort of piggy bank coming out of like that creator's account that's paying for that distribution, because there's already money flowing through like mint activity, right? So it's like, how can you leverage it so they're not actually feeling like they're spending money, they're just kind of like recycling money back into growth.
What do you think the threshold is though, Luke? Like when you say creators are willing to pay for distribution, what's the number you think they're willing to pay? Because I think
in the same way, if you think about like amps is like a really good kind of like baseline, like am I willing to pay $1, $2 for 5 retweets? Probably, yeah. Like, and that might net, 10 more users that come over, maybe. So
I buy that.
Yeah, I think that there's also a micropayment based kind of model here that WAP isn't able to do. That you can do it by bringing the payments on chain, which I think is interesting as well. But again, we're like super early in this thinking, and maybe this is a this year type deal, but yeah, it's an interesting mechanism of like, how do you just maximize distribution for these creators, because everything is downstream of that, right? Monetization, engagement, all that kind of stuff is just downstream of distribution, so like optimize for that.
I was going to say that based on my comments earlier on Zora, as a trader, my expectation is how do I make 1000x by buying something on Zora, whether it's a creator coin or a post, etc. So I think that's the kind of thing that we're wrangling with here. Is like maybe there will be some network of people who are down to repost the podcast for $1, you know what I mean, $3, $5, etc. I think that we've all learned with crypto specifically that the expectation is how do I make an unparalleled amount of gains and not just like a fixed amount of income. And I think that's the needle that we're trying to thread here, is like finding the audience in between and allowing the narrative to catch up to the market in that sense. And I don't know, it's a tough spot to be in for sure. It's a tough spot, but I'm optimistic about where all these experiments are headed though, because I think it's very in line for a lot of our visions of our products and where I think all this is going.
Yeah.
Amen.
I also think it's the micropayments thing is interesting, of like, what if you were actually just giving 1/10 of a penny for every view that you brought to like that TikTok thing, and then there's
There
kind
he
of
is.
uncapped upside.
It's
in dollars, not creator coins.
No, the principle is still the same.
I'm just
yeah, but I just think I think coins create a weirder narrative, because you have that expectation of profit versus stable coins. It's like, okay, I just get that dollar or whatever it is.
That's fair.
as you guys are talking, I'm just looking at the volume on Jacob token and the number of holders. Hasn't changed much, and there hasn't been much volume outside of that big initial, which, to your point, Cooper, it's not that these users are fickle, but it's like very fast. Um, it's just very fast. It's like in and out within 15 minutes, and there's not a lot of sense of like sustainability here, and it's hard to keep the volume high.
I could be mid-curving it, but that's why I actually think that slowing it down might be a good thing. You know, like at least the way that I'm thinking about it is like, don't just let anyone buy in with, $10,000 on block one because they have an MEV bot that can snipe the token, but just try and like slow down the initial sale of these tokens to make them go into the hands of people who like actually understand what's going on and maybe don't have the, explicit expectation of trying to make a ton of money out of the gate. But, David, you and I were talking about this, and the challenges of business is that people buying is your bottom line. People buying is how you make swap fees. People selling is how you make swap fees. And so the trade-off on like a Jacob token is that, yeah, like maybe most of the volume's happening in the first 24 hours,
He
but if
doesn't
you
care.
build, he doesn't care because he's getting swap fees in and out. And so it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, do you optimize for volume? In which case it's a lot more optimized towards like bots and snipers, et cetera, because that's all good for you. Or if I block those people out in favor of like the people who genuinely know what's going on here, you're sacrificing a ton of revenue as a company in favor of this, cohort of users that may never come, or maybe it's just too slow for them or whatever happens. So I think that's at least to circle back how I'm thinking about our song coins is less around like what is the pre-sale mechanism that allows us to prevent sniping. Because that's like, I'm not as worried about that. I don't think we have enough attention to like really need to worry about snipers. I think for me, it's more about how do you unfairly reward the people who are the most active on the platform, the people who know that this is a music platform, that understand why we're launching coins of specific songs, that understand who these artists are, that want to actively promote the music. And I think the more that those people can kind of get, let's call it the first chunk of the supply by either buying it really cheap or by earning it for free, I'm optimistic that should lead to like a pretty good outcome that feels pretty positive to me.
Maybe I'm just thinking on the fly, but like all these shows, all these artists have live shows. If like you had like some type of QR code that gave you like a soulbound NFT on the back end, and then those users who have provably gone to shows have some type of like guarantee to get tokens early and more a larger share of these tokens. And now you're
Mhm.
kind of combining like these are physical people who are at live shows who are like real fans of this artist now getting a guaranteed way to have some type of stake.
I think that's actually like super interesting. Of like, yeah, you have a QR code, you sign a message, scan it, signs a
You got
message in the
some balls, David.
Coop Record app.
Why?
I'm just going to reference a conversation you and I had yesterday about, a show that's coming up that you may or not may not be involved in, and the potential to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
maybe, I
yeah.
don't know, put a QR code on the fucking stage and give people some tokens. And David
I
coming
bet
back to me, oh no, I don't think it would work. Blah blah blah. You got some balls, buddy, coming on this
I've had
podcast recommending that after you just shot it down behind the scenes
I've had a
less than
rough
24
24
hours
hours.
ago.
I
I've
do
had a
think that's
rough
a good idea
24
though,
hours.
because then you get a list of people that are like were actually there, and then they get rewarded for being there.
What I was
100%.
suggesting though, Cooper, is I think works better for what you're doing than
Fair
what
enough.
we were talking about the other day.
Fair enough. I just think in general, I agree with Lucas that the best way to do distribution is to meet people where they're at. And if you can earn coins IRL for going to things around that actual media type, that feels like a much better mechanism than just like whoever rocks up to the website, which is clearly not the same people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to have some proof of location, proof of attendance, maybe.
I mean, I just want to be able to give people coins on the grounds at these festivals. I think that's what I've
Yeah.
been thinking through a lot recently is just like, how do I give people 5, 10 bucks? Because if I can just go up to someone and say, hey, can I give you $10 of your favorite song? Like at this festival. Like I think that there's a narrative there that makes sense. It's gonna start like obviously super cringe on some like Jesse on the street type beat, but I think through enough trial and error, there's a world where I can definitely be shilling out $5, $10, $20 bags of coins for people starting to get into the app in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also what I was talking to Jacob about was like for Zora, what I'm excited for them to start doing is get $10 for signing up, connecting your TikTok, connecting your Instagram, and posting your first post, right? And if Zora is basically paying for that Creator Coin launch through subsidizing it with their platform token, I think there's a pretty compelling narrative where now you can start to scale it. Say if I'm just a Joe Schmo, I can get $5 worth of coins to, launch my first post on the app. If I'm an Instagram user with 1 million followers, maybe I get $10,000 worth of Zora tokens for launching my coin on the app. And I think there's this nice like Annie opportunity that they can use to start using the token as like a means of getting more viral creators on the platform, which I know in a roundabout way accomplishes that concern that I had, which is say, hey, if I got $25,000 guaranteed in the first week, I would launch the coin. You know what I mean? And if that's not entirely reliant on trading fees, but is instead kind of earned through like some sort of grant or like creator rewards program, think about Snapchat and the reason why all these people are using Snapchat and all these platforms, then they're getting money up front. And I mean, I don't know if you guys saw like the luck.io thing that's circulating around Twitter this week. I don't know if that's true, but people are saying they're giving people 500 grand a month to use the app
I
and
did see
promote the
that.
app.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's 500K, but I actually do think it's six figures. I think that there are
Right.
certain creators that are getting, roughly 100 grand a month to like promote usage of the app. Very capital intensive, but it works. And I think that that's something that in the history of crypto, Twitter is very frowned upon, like, being a paid shill, etc. But in the eyes of doing it as a means of starting to use a platform and kicking off these creator coins and whatnot, I think that there's probably something there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what Luck.io was until this week. So the one on the marketing there.
Boys, I gotta call it soon.
That's all good. I think that was
Lucas,
a good stopping point.
wrap it up for us, man. Give us the closing thoughts. Tell people where they can buy this episode. You know what to do.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Coop and David. We actually didn't give a shout out to Chevy, who's missing this week. We didn't even talk about that, but it's fine. It's all good. R.I.P. Chevy. He'll be back. But thank you so much for listening. You can find this episode on chain at pods.media/not-a-cartel. You can support us directly, get a little receipt that you were an early supporter, and we'll see what happens from there.
Appreciate you guys. Back next week.
Back next week.
Back
Mr. Chevy.
Peace.